you know, the jurors, is that juror here, by the way?
She's in the reception area.
So, anyway, I'll leave it to your discretion. It was announced in open court, there was a motion for mistrial. Gary obviously didn't answer the question. And, what did you respond, Gary?
I told her I didn't know anything about that. And then she asked me, weren't you there? I said, I don't remember that.
Anyway, that's where we're at. So you think it over. Let me know if there's any inquiry you want me to make. Madam?
Yeah, I think you need to, the state's position would be that she needs to be brought in. Your Honor needs to inquire if she's saying anything in the media or any coverage of that, because that was discussed online, is my understanding.
What do you think, counsel?
Well, to the extent that the court's inquiry of this jury is because of the state's faulty recollection that I didn't say move for mistrial in front of the jury, I know that not to be the case. I did say objection, move for mistrial. You then called a sidebar, and the only thing you said was, please reserve that to me.
That's my recollection.
Yeah, that's what
But again, is that what you're concerned about, or is it concerned about just because it was said that you think I ought to inquire?
Your Honor, I think that it's at defense's peril if we go forward and if they're going to waive any inquiry of this witness, if she's been looking at any of the other items or anything online that defense brought to Your Honor's attention earlier. Because if they thought was laboring under the impression that there was some sort of cessation of trial and then started looking at media and news reports because they thought their jury service was over, that would be a problem.
Better to have more information than less, so we have no objection to that being the procedure that we deploy.
So you want me to bring her in, indicate to her that I was advised by our bailiff, Gary, that you asked him a motion for mistrial and what had happened, and just ask her, how is it that you're concerned about that, or where did you hear about it, and just find out what information she's got and about it and where she heard it from. Is that the end of the inquiry?
I would ask that you inquire from her if she conveyed any of that to any of the other jurors.
Anything else?
No.
Unless the court wants to say, unfortunately, I denied it.
So we're going to ask what she heard, where she learned it from.
If she did any outside research afterwards.
Oh, they got to talk to the juror.
She inquired or
Legendary.
asked any of the other jurors concerning that topic.
Melly.
Anything else that you want me to ask, counsel?
No.
Anything?
We gotta talk about this attorney because somebody tagged me. Apparently, she's got charges. The one with the red heels. I'm always attracted to crazy or some sort of. I knew there was something. Her heels caught my attention yesterday, and I was drawn. And then somebody tagged me today. She got a little record, allegedly. Well, I think they actually posted the records. Remind me. Don't let me forget about that. We got to talk about that.
Okay.
I like her even more. Let's do it. I knew it. All right. Prosecutor doesn't have charge. Oh, Melly's lawyer. Oh. Because somebody said you're a girl. Oh, so let me correct that. Hold on. Who's the person? Oh, you're right. That's her mugshot. Okay, it's the other one. Oh, okay. We're still good. I actually don't like this attorney. The one over there, she kind of something weird about her ass. Melly's attorney.
Gary.
Nah, I actually find her kind of, I don't know. She's kind of a little bit weird to me. Melly. Melvin. Melvin. When Maddie sometimes says my actual name, it cringes me out. And she knows it does that, so she like does it smiling. Melvin. She does that sometimes. Okay, so this is the one I got you. No wonder she all, rubbing up and hubbing. Trespass in 2001, disorderly conduct on premises of an establishment, resisting officer without violence, and trespass in 2007, and a battery in 2022. She looked like she got charges, right? What do you mean? How dare you? Don't judge a book by its cover.
Thank you.
Thank you for correcting me, Diggs. All right.
Miss Manuel is going to come in now.
All right.
Thank you.
So somebody's gonna message me later, upset.
Yours, Zachary?
Hey, Ms. Manuel, thanks for coming back in. Let the record reflect the approach of the defendant, his counsel, the assistant state attorneys, as well as one of our jurors, Ms. Manuel. Counsel, please be seated. Ms. Manuel, please be seated. Ms. Manuel, why I brought in is my bailiff indicated to me that when we weren't able to start this morning, that he was escorting the jurors out, and you approached him and asked him about what happened with the mistrial or something to this effect. Is that right? So that's a yes. All right. So I guess my concern is what you may have heard about this alleged mistrial and where you heard it from.
The last day I was here, and the defense attorney jumped up and said mistrial.
Okay. So that's where you heard it from?
Yes.
Anything other than that?
No.
All right. Was there any other research that you may have done or looked at newspapers or any kind of article about the motion for mistrial, anything like that?
No.
Anything on the news, any news media
No.
about the mistrial? No. And last but not least, did you speak with any of the other jurors about the motion for mistrial?
No. When Gary came in and asked us this morning, do we have any issues, any questions? And I didn't want to ask him in front of everybody, so I waited till we got in the hall and I put him to the side and asked him that. If he asked me, he had any concerns.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's what we're trying to clear up and find out. Because there's an admonition that I say every time we break, don't discuss the case, don't form any opinion about
No,
the
it was
case.
said in here.
That's what we're trying to find out.
Okay.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Audio is crazy, bro. You hear everything else. The footsteps, the door opening and closing, papers crinkling.
Thank you. Let the record reflect the juror stepped out. Counsel remain on the defendant. Anything you wish me to do regarding this issue with this manual, counsel?
No, sir.
So are we otherwise ready to proceed?
Sure shows up, yes.
I think, are they all here?
As far as I know.
Okay, so see if they're all here. If they're all here, we'll start.
What a day it's been.
Yeah, he did say we're short 2 or 3.
What are you, what, jurors?
But they're here now?
Oh, okay,
All right,
good.
they're all here now.
And it's not been a day because of this trial, that's for sure. Nothing's really happened with the trial. The submarine. Ooh, meal prep. This is a double homicide trial, yeah. Death sentence trial. It was 4 people in a, well, at some point there was 4 people in the car. The defense claims that the rapper here, he got out before the shooting actually happened. The prosecution says he was there. 4 people in the car, the driver and the rapper. The driver was driving. The rapper was behind the driver. The 2 people on the right side were shot and killed. But the defense is claiming he wasn't there.
You all ready?
Go.
Okay, counsel, I'll bring you in, is that all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's put the jury.
Oh yeah, I gotta check that out too. I forgot you sent me that video. The Real Housewives.
Jury entering.
Please be seated. Let the record once again reflect the presence of the defendant, his counsel, the assistant state attorneys, and as well as the ladies and gentlemen jury. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the late start. Hopefully everybody's all right. We appreciate your patience. We also appreciate the fact that you're all here, and we thank you. But we're ready to begin again. When we left off last week, the state was still on its case in chief. Madam, who's your next witness?
Susan Johnson of T-Mobile.
Susan Johnson, please. Good afternoon. Are you Susan Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
What I'd like to do is raise your right hand for us.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your full legal name for the record.
Susan Johnson,
Please spell your first and last name for the court reporter.
SUSAN, JOHN,
Please have a seat.
Thank you.
Ms. Johnson, that microphone in front of you will adjust up or down, but not back and forth. Okay?
Thank
Are you
you.
ready to proceed, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Counsel, you may.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Johnson. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Could you please introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury and tell them where you work?
Sure. My name is Susan Johnson, and I work for T-Mobile.
How long have you worked for T-Mobile?
A total of 26 years.
And what do you do for T-Mobile?
I am a manager within the emergency response unit.
Prior to working for T-Mobile, did you work for any other telecommunications companies?
Yes, I did.
And what were those?
AT&T Wireless,
And how long did you work for AT&T?
5 years.
How long in total have you worked in the telecommunications industry?
31 years.
So you indicated you were part of the manager of the emergency response.
Legal emergency response.
And what does that mean?
That means that we respond to subpoenas and other legal demands from various agencies across the United States.
And when you say a legal demand, what would you mean by that?
Subpoena or a court order, search warrant.
In terms of the records when you work with them, how often do you work with them?
Every day.
What do you
Who's this?
do with the records?
So we're able to retrieve the information from our secure computer database and then send the response back to the agency that's requesting.
And I know this might sound silly, but what type of company is T-Mobile?
We're a wireless telephone carrier.
And is T-Mobile the parent company of any other wireless carriers?
We did acquire Sprint.
How long has T-Mobile been the parent company for Sprint?
April 1st, 2020 is when we acquired them.
In terms of the information that is kept by T-Mobile, do you keep phone call records?
Yes.
What would you call those?
Call detail records.
Do you keep information regarding the networks?
Yes.
Do you keep information regarding subscribers?
Yes.
What type of information is kept in a call detail record?
So call detail reports will show incoming and outgoing phone calls or text messages made or received by the cellular telephone.
Does T-Mobile keep that information as to when data is used?
Yes.
Will a data phone call or video call show up in call detail records?
No.
Does the information show for who is being called?
Yes, it will show the transaction of the outbound or inbound phone call on the call detail records.
Does T-Mobile keep the cell site information for the call that the outgoing non-T-Mobile subscriber?
No.
What's the purpose of collecting this information at T-Mobile?
Billing purposes.
Is there any consideration as to the health and optimization of the network?
So we keep what is known as timing advance records, which is solely for engineering purposes, so that they are able to check up on the network, yes.
When a phone call is made from a cellular device or handset, can you describe from the network perspective what happens?
Sure. So what happens is the phone reaches out to the tower with the strongest signal, which is not necessarily the closest tower. So for example, we can have a tower on top of the building, or we can have one down the street. However, the one down the street might be the stronger signal and would pick up that call. At that point, it's transferred to our switch, and our switch is what records all the information that you will see on the call detail records. At that point, it's then transferred to a landline company, and it's the landline company that actually delivers the call.
So you mentioned true call data. What is that?
So true call data is for the network. It will show where the phone is connected to when it's not in use, as long as it's turned on.
Does Sprint also have a similar type of data?
Yes.
What is per call measurement data?
Correct.
Is that the same for true call, for the Sprint analogy?
Correct. That's Sprint's term.
In terms of subscriber information, what types of subscriber information is kept?
So the subscriber information, we have two types. One would be a prepay, and then the other would be a monthly account.
So the prepay, what type of information could you have?
So prepay, a customer is not required to provide their information, but they could provide a name, address, and date of birth.
On the postpaid or the billed type, what type of information do you have?
So we would have the name, the address, date of birth, social security number, and we actually do a credit check on that individual.
In terms of the individual using the specific phones or handsets, can you testify to that?
No.
How many times have you testified in court before?
Over 1,000 times.
Were you, as the records custodian for T-Mobile, provided legal process, I'm going to go through them one by one, under reference tracking number for T-Mobile 214-6318 for two phone numbers of 305-922-9533 and 954-376-9158.
Yes.
As the T-Mobile records custodian under tracking number 219-2645, where you provided records or requests and legal process for three phone numbers, 561-720-3210, 772-713-9807, and 954-376-9158.
Yes. Yes.
As the records custodian for T-Mobile under T-Mobile tracking ID 2081851, where you submitted a request for phone number 954-248-9081.
Yes.
For T-Mobile tracking number 217-2715, for phone number 954-376-9158, where you provided a legal process to obtain the records for that issue.
Yes.
Were you also under tracking number 205-8127, asked to provide for legal process phone number records for 772-713-9807?
Yes.
Was Sprint at the time, now part of T-Mobile, under the phone numbers for 772-713-2341 and 954-371-7895 under Sprint tracking number 2018-221418, provided legal process and requested to provide records.
Yes.
Was Sprint under Sprint case number 2019-15821, asked to provide records with regards to phone number 225-529-5054.
Yes.
Prior to coming into court today, did you have the opportunity to review the records that were provided?
Yes, I did.
Are these records made at or about the time they are created by a person with knowledge?
Yes.
Are they kept in the regular course of business of Sprint and T-Mobile?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Is it in the regular practice to keep such records?
Yes.
You're at this time approaching with what's been labeled as states 000 for identification purposes and previously shown to defense. Ms. Johnson, do you recognize this USB?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
My initials and today's date are on the USB.
And does those USB fairly and accurately represent the records that were provided by T-Mobile in response to the tracking numbers that we just discussed, as well as to Sprint and the tracking numbers and case numbers they just provided?
Yes.
Here at this time, the state would offer states 000 as state 63.
Any objection?
Yes, Judge. Objection? Relevance?
Sure, why don't you come sidewalk here?
So I think it is out of sync. You guys are right. On my computer, it looks fine. I have a feeling it's my keyframe setting, which most of you are probably not gonna know what that is, but I have it set to something odd. You're not really supposed to do. I have it set to 3 because I really liked it. That's the only thing I could think that's causing it to be slightly out of sync. Because and it has to be because on my computer it's actually fine, but it's something with the streaming. It has to be the streaming settings, the way it's going out. But that setting, I can't change it while I'm streaming. So that kind of sucks. I mean, unless I ended the stream or if they take another long break, maybe I can end it and start it over. I don't have any notifications though. It depends. If you guys tell me it's really annoying, I could just end it now. Let me see. I don't even think I had notifications anyway. So if you want, I could just end it now, change the setting and come back. It's not bothering you? Okay. You guys let me know. I didn't realize that because on my end, that's why it's always good to check. And that's why your feedback is important sometimes to me too. Well, it's always important, but you know what I mean? Because if you don't tell me, sometimes there's no way I'll know if I'm just looking at my computer. But it's just the video though, huh? I'm actually in sync. Let me see. That's weird though, but I'm in sync though, but the video's out of sync? What? That's kind of weird, right? Why am I in sync? If it's something that's streaming out and it's a setting, why would I be synced but the video I'm playing not synced? That's weird. I got multiple personality. Should I just refresh this shit? Try a different browser? Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. I thought about the personality. I thought about who to be. Don't touch any buttons. I know, right? Crash the ship. You just listening? Let it live, Mel. Let it go, Mel. Let it go. The keyframe setting is me sending out this entire stream. So it kind of doesn't make any sense to me that I would be synced, but the thing here would not be synced. If that was the issue, I should be out of sync as well. That's weird that I'm synced. So that thing that I think could be the issue might not even be the issue. That's weird. Oh, let me get the super chat real quick too. Thank you, Cat C. Thank you so much. Says please give my girl Asi Ali some love in the chat. She's a huge fan. Thanks. Thank you. Asi's been around for a while, right? If that's the Australian I'm thinking about, let me see. Asi Ali. I wonder if that's the same person. I think it is. You're the best. Thank you.
Rules that will be admitted. What's the next one?
I'll get the next one after.
63 and out.
Permission to publish?
You may.
Maybe we're all out of sync. Maybe it's the buff rate being lost in stream. I don't know. I do think I should send more. I meant to up the bit rate. I think the bit rate's too low. I put it at 5,000. They say it's enough, but I really should have it higher, like 6,000 or something. I think I should have it like at 6,000.
So I'm going to start with the sprint records. What are we looking at in this particular file? 2018-221418-6155559.
Going to heaven.
This would be the subscriber information.
She's as white as Alex Murdoch's shirt.
And in terms of
I suppose he killed people in.
looking at this particular one, I'm going to zoom in. What is the billing name for this?
Chris Thomas.
And going to the second one, what is the billing name on this one?
Asiale.
The first name is Dontavius. Last name is Withers. Withers.
One of the mods go check.
At the top of this screen
Long
capture,
crimes
there's a
stream.
BAN
See if they're out of
number.
sync too, because maybe it could be them.
Do you know what that means?
Yes,
What is that?
that would be
Right, so-
the account number.
Does that correlate with the other data that's been provided?
Yes.
Going to now the same Word document file name. What are we looking at in this Sprint document?
This is also subscriber information.
So you had mentioned that billing account number, that BAN number.
Correct.
If you can touch the screen in front of you, you can write on it and it will show up on the screen for the jurors. So if you could point out where the billing account number is here. Okay. And then what is the phone number that was being used by this account, or the subject number?
772-713-2341.
And is this again for that Chris Thomas billing account?
Yes.
Okay. Scrolling down to the next billing account number. Is this the other account that we just looked at the subscriber information on for Dontavius Withers?
Yes.
And what is the phone number that's associated with this particular account?
954-371-7895.
Going on to 2019-158-210-6566861. For the phone number in question on this particular record, is that labeled right here?
Yes.
And what phone number is that?
225-529-5054.
Bullshit. Hey, what?
And looking at the Microsoft Excel viewer, can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what we're looking at here?
These are the call detail records with cell site information for Sprint.
Going over to the T-Mobile records.
I don't want to
Just
say
for
this.
demonstrative and illustrative purposes, when you are looking, this particular one called Timing Advance LTE and UMTS underscore TN 772-713-9807. Then it has another underscore IMSI. What is an IMSI?
That stands for International Mobile Subscriber Identity Number, which is the number that's associated with the SIM card found in the back of the phone.
And the first, the 772-713-9807. What is that?
That would be the phone number.
Are all of these records provided by T-Mobile?
Yes.
In terms of completion codes, is that something that is reflected in these records?
Yes.
What is a completed successfully completion code?
So that means that the call went through the network successfully.
What is an abnormal completion?
An abnormal completion means the call did not go through. Perhaps the user hung up prior to the call connecting or a dropped call.
Okay. In terms of what time frame are all of these records kept in?
We keep them in UTC time, which is Coordinated Universal Time. So depending on what time of the year it is, you would have to subtract either 4 or 5 hours from the time that you see reflected in order to arrive at East Coast time.
On October 26th of 2018, how many hours did you have to subtract?
It would be -4.
The cell site locations indicate latitude and longitude of the cell site. Is that now there's also a physical address. Is the physical address always the same as the latitude and longitude?
No.
What could the physical address sometimes show?
So that's what we refer to as an administrative address. So we use that for 911 purposes. To get the exact location of the cell tower, you would take the two coordinates, the latitude and longitude, plot it into a mapping program such as Google Earth, and that will give you the exact location.
So nothing further of this witness, Sharon?
Counsel, is there any
Keep it
cross-examination?
moving.
1 second, John. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
So, the technology that you just described for identifying locations, how is that verified by T-Mobile itself?
That you would have to ask an engineer for.
So you don't know how that's done?
How it's verified?
Yeah.
As to what tower connected to? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
So it's done with a radio frequency, is how the towers work. It's a signal.
Okay, so but you were telling us earlier that the phone does not necessarily connect to the nearest tower.
Correct.
It connects to the tower with the strongest signal.
Correct.
So how is it that you know to approximate, how do you know how far the phone is from the actual tower?
I don't.
Is there no way to tell that?
No. Not through me.
Not through you?
Correct.
And how do you know if the tower that the phone connected to is the closest tower or the one with the stronger signal?
That would not be a question for me. You would have to ask an engineer.
How would you know whether or not a phone defaults to a stronger strength. If you have a tower with a strong signal and another tower with a not so strong signal, or a signal that's not as strong as the other. You with me so far?
Yes.
I lost me.
How would you know at what point the signal disparity is strong enough for it to default to the one that's further away as opposed to the one that's closer?
Again, that's a question for an engineer, not for me.
So you have no way of helping us understand any of this information that you just described.
Correct.
You just collect it when you're subpoenaed and you provide it.
Correct.
And you're not familiar with the technology at all.
Not the questions that you're asking, correct.
Okay. One second.
Sure.
Oh, God. Chat.
Is it correct that the data location information, the purpose that you worked with Sprint and with T-Mobile at some point,
I'm a T-Mobile employee.
and you were a Sprint employee at some point?
No, sir.
You were somewhere else? No?
AT&T.
AT&T.
Correct.
The purpose that AT&T, and in this case now T-Mobile, collects this data location information is for billing.
Correct.
That's its only purpose.
And network engineers collect to optimize the network.
Okay. It's not used for identifying the locations of customers' phones beyond the purpose of just billing.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Johnson, counsel asked you, how do you know something didn't happen? Is that a fair question?
Objection.
Sustain, rephrase.
With regards to these records, are they accurate?
Objection.
What's the objection?
Lack of foundation, Chief.
Why don't you come somewhere?
So what do you guys think about the trial so far, man? Are you feeling it? You're not? ¿Cómo te sientes? It's okay. You don't know. I don't know. I'm still kind of mixed. I don't know, man. I think like we maybe try to give it this week and decide. Because the only thing is when we cover these trials, we miss out on other stories. So that's why I'm like really selective. Try to be very selective. But I don't mind pulling out either. Like, pause. But the, what's that? The parade guy. Daryl, whatever his name is, the killer. I pulled out of that one, that story, but people love that trial. But when I was trying to do it, I was like, eh. But it's better than no trial, Mel trial. Yeah, that's true.
Does the T-Mobile keep any record of something that doesn't happen?
No.
What is contained in the records that have been provided?
Calls and text messages that have happened.
Is this from the network's perspective?
Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down. You're excused.
Thank you, Judge.
ma'am. Who is your next witness?
Jonathan Zeller.
Because an option too is like, let's say we decide not to do it. What I could do is I still need to do the probable cause affidavit. I could do a probable cause affidavit, and then like when there's big stuff that happens or moments, we could just come back and watch whatever instead of sitting here for hours and hours and hours. We could, if there's some like major testimony, like if we know, for example, the ex-girlfriend's not going to testify, she's gone, they can't find her. But like big testimonies, we could just like highlight and go over it. You know? awaiting Kohlberger trial. I don't think the video streaming is gonna happen. But I mean, I'm hopeful. Maybe they'll release audio or something at the end of the day, or video at the end of the day. I don't know. I don't think there's gonna be a live feed of it.
That's all. When you get there, you put your things down, you raise your right hand, be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your full legal name for the record.
Jonathan Pizarro. It's Z-E-L-L-E.
Spell your first name as well, sir.
Jonathan.
Thank you.
Ooh, pre-trial hearings this Monday the 26th.
Microphone will just up or down, but not back up.
See, and even that one sounds really interesting. That father that killed 3 of his kids. The pre-trial hearing is Monday. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on that, like, this trial is supposed to be 4 weeks, I think. To me, so far, what I've seen, and we've gone through the other days, it's not really riveting to me. Like, the 4th day was interesting. That was pretty cool. Sometimes, I mean, a lot of times they start slow. They will start slow and stuff like that, but I kind of have to hand it to the prosecution team on the Letitia Stout trial. Like, that was a really good trial, like back to back to back to back to back, yo. Like, you know, the Murdoch one was tough. It had its moments, and it was a nice ride, but the Murdoch had some moments where it's like, the financial stuff is just, whew. Cover who? That's the guy that killed the kids. And I think in July we got the show business. You think this case will pick up? Yeah, it's the first week. In July we got the lady that dismembered the guy and dismembered his penis and put his head in a bucket. That's coming up in July. High on meth. Oh, Mo. So you think it's gonna pick up too? Stick it out, Mel. You started. You can't stop now. Stuck. So business and the suitcase ladies the same day, but I don't think the suitcase thing's gonna happen. I mean, I don't know. If it happens at the same time, it's going to be tough picking. Places called Moscow aren't going to let them freely broadcast a trial. Must have lots of propaganda from Moscow. Oh, the woman who poisoned her husband. So this weekend, if we have time, we should go over that. If I have time. I don't know if Maddie, is she going to her mother's this weekend? Sure. No, Judge. If she goes, for sure.
Bradley, if you're ready, you may proceed.
Yes. Okay. Detective, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Where do you work?
I work with the Miramar Police Department.
How long have you worked for the Miramar Police Department?
Oh, she got gold heels
What do you
today?
do for the Miramar Police
That gold?
I'm a detective in the homicide unit
And how long have you been in the homicide unit?
since 2009.
Prior to going into the homicide unit, what other hats have you worn for the Miramar Police Department?
Several. One in particular is a forensic, digital forensic examiner.
Okay. What is a digital forensic examiner?
So what I do is we'll stick with the cell phones or cellular phones or devices of that nature. I do the extraction and the analysis for it.
And when you're doing an extraction, can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what types of software or tools you use to do an extraction on a cellular telephone?
So what we use is a software and hardware from a company called Celebrate. And this is specific for conducting extractions of cellular devices.
And approximately how many different trainings have you taken in the use of Celebrate systems?
I've taken a few. Each of them consisted of 40 hours of class training and exercises, and obviously the exam as well.
What about you taking training with the CAST team of the FBI?
I have.
Have you taken, you said you also do analysis of the cellular forensics or digital forensics. What do you mean by that?
So Depending on what type of case it is, I will actually do the extraction and I'll also do the examination of it, the analysis for it, and go through it and look for items that potentially could be considered evidence.
And in terms of to do the analysis part, what information do you need?
I need to know what the case.
In this case that we're here on today, Miramar Police Department investigation 18-10-06269, were you the lead detective?
I was not
What was your role in this case?
doing the analysis or the extraction of the device.
Did you do any analysis of the device?
I did not.
In terms of the extraction of the device, were you provided an iPhone with the phone number attached to it of 772-713-9807?
Yes, yes.
Prior to coming to court today, did you have the opportunity to review the digital copy of that extraction?
I did.
I'm showing defense counsel what's been marked as states triple P for identification purposes, showing the witness. Detective Zeller, do you recognize this thumb drive?
I did.
How do you recognize this?
My initials and my ID number on the jump drive.
What is that thumb drive contain?
This is the generated report of the generated report of the cellular device that was extracted.
And is that in the same or substantially the same condition as when you performed that extraction?
Yes.
Here at this time, the state would request to move states triple P in as state 64.
Objection. Yes, sir. Name. Sure.
He has a lot of sidebars. A lot of sidebars, pausing. I mean, that happens sometimes too. I mean, a lot of times when, I mean, from what my little experience from watching these trials, all of them have like this, mostly they go through these boring parts and stuff. What we consider boring, or at least what I consider boring. And so, especially with like the cops or whatever, or the forensic stuff, sometimes the forensic stuff, it just, especially the parts where they're like, oh, I opened it and packaged it and signed it at this time date, and you're the one that did this. Sometimes that's kind of like, You know, the actual evidence is interesting, but like when you're going through those monotonous things, or like going through the credentials, or like, it's kind of just, It could pick up though. I mean, I guess we could try this. I think we should at least maybe give it the week and see. I guess there's just a lot of shit going on, you know. I don't know. I missed a trial. Mel faces on screen. So let me see the submarine thing. I haven't seen any updates. Somebody emailed me saying it was found, but I didn't see anywhere. Not one place. I've checked websites, I've checked Twitter, I've checked like official places that have been posting updates. So I haven't heard anything about that yet. And that would be all over the place. We can look at some submarine stuff in the meantime. That controller shit is crazy. I mean, I understand because people were saying that like the Navy uses it, Xbox controllers. I wonder if they still do that. Navy using Xbox controllers. This is 2018. Uses an Xbox controller to maneuver the Colorado's photonic mast when the U.S. Navy commissions a submarine. Initially, the masts were controlled with a helicopter-style stick, but those were described as heavy and clunky and were swapped with Xbox 360 control. That was in 2018. It's interesting. At least two next generation weapon style systems the U.S. military is investing heavily in ahead of the next big war are operated in part through Xbox style video game controllers. Oh, here's something that's a little different. It looks, so here's one, it looks almost Xbox like, but this is actually different. But this was posted 2023. Controller of the U.S. Army's MSHORAD. I'd be careful scrolling because Lord knows what you run into on this shit. Ocean Gate. That's freaking deep. That 5 people death capsule. Let's see. Don't need the music. Wow, really? Pretty cool video. Yeah. While they're, oh wait, I should pay attention, right? Oops. Oh, they're not there. If it's still out of sync and you guys are being annoyed by it, I can end the stream and start a part 3 and change one of the settings to see if it fixes it. Oh god, I can leave the volume. Okay, cool. Wow. Ooh, USS Johnston shipwreck. Southern Ocean, Indian Ocean. You don't think they made it that far, though? Mount Everest. Damn. That's fine. All right. Yeah, today for the trial has not been a good day.
5?
Objection overruled.
4.
I mean,
What's the next number?
thankful it was a good day for me, actually, because we got to cover other stuff.
So, Detective Zeller, can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what an extraction does?
So the extraction consists or is done in order to obtain whatever is on that phone and to put it in a legible or readable report that's easy for someone to look at. And some of the things that you would get also by doing that, you may get items that have been deleted, so on and so forth. And that's why we do those types of extractions.
Nothing further from this witness.
That's it. All up for
Any
that.
cross-examination?
Yes, just briefly. How are you, sir?
Good news, sir.
You said you did a phone dump here of a particular unit that the state referred to,
That's correct.
and you have not analyzed it.
No,
You don't know if there's any relevant evidence on it at all.
that's correct.
Okay. And you don't know who it belongs to, do you?
I do know who it belongs to. Obviously, I'm in the office. I know who it belongs to, but as far as the contents of it, I don't know.
You don't know. You don't know who uses it.
I do not.
You don't know who it's registered to.
I do not.
Okay. One second.
I don't even think this is spicy.
And as to any contents of
Yeah,
that
try.
phone, you don't know if they're texts, who authored them.
Once again, I don't know the contents of it.
Okay. Okay, Your Honor, we'd like to come sidebar if you would. Sure.
Ay, mi madre. Ay, ay, ay. Nah, bro. It's all it's been all day. It was bullshit. Well, they haven't really been on today, but. Yeah. The Navy.
Emotional trauma or death. Where do I sign? Oh, take your shoes off. That's customary. Okay. Wow.
Inside, the sub has about as much room as a minivan.
So,
Service.
an experimental submersible vessel that has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, or death. Where do I sign? Oh, take your shoes off. That's customary. Okay. Wow.
Inside, the sub has about as much room as a minivan.
So this is not your grandfather's submersible. We only have one button. That's it. It should be like an elevator. It shouldn't take a lot of skill.
Wow.
The Titan is the only 5-person sub in the world that can reach Titanic depths, 2.4 miles below the sea. It's also the only one with a toilet. Sort of. And yet, I couldn't help noticing how many pieces of this sub seemed improvised.
We can use these off-the-shelf components. I got these from Camper World. We run the whole thing with this game controller. Come on! It seems like...
Wow. The other video we were looking at, so it's 2.4 miles is 3,800, says here, meters. Where's that video at? It's gone in the depths of the algorithm.
Thank you. Let the record reflect the jury stepped out. Counsel remain along with the defendant, Mr. Daniels. Defendant, you need a restroom break? Need a restroom break? Nope. All right. Thank you. And what is it you want to share with the cases?
Okay, Your Honor, and I can hand them up as I discussed them. I don't think I left one with the court. The one that I referred to first is RLG versus State, 322 Southern 3rd, 721, a third DCA case.
Amazing. I guess we don't get to be part of that either. Amazing. It was on Twitter, man, and I lost it. Maybe I can go in my history and find it. It was on Twitter. The world of Twitter. Maybe not. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh, so that's how deep that shit goes? Because I was looking up here, 2.4 miles is 3,800 meters. So we're going, wait, that thing, well, the Titanic's that deep. I mean, I don't think they made it this far either, like somebody was saying, because halfway down is when they lost communication. So they would have been going 3,800. So they would have gone like probably even further than that. Oh, there, I didn't even see that earlier. RMS Titanic show, yeah. Wow. That's far, man. Stop working. Amazing. Oh, they're back.
This is an app on a phone that purports to account for the number of steps that someone takes. In addition to these cases, I have several articles. There have been lawsuits about the accuracy of the data that is compiled by this type of app, because what it's doing is it's assessing reverberations. So, for example, one of the experts we spoke to indicated that his wife plays the piano at church, and every time she goes to church and comes back, she's taken 20,000 steps because she's doing like that. So the fact is that whether or not this information is reliable is yet to be determined. Whether or not the technology has advanced to the point of being reliable is yet to be determined. But this court cannot admit it until the state first meets its burden of establishing the reliability of the data that is compiled or purportedly developed as a result of the technology. Because we don't know if that technology is accurate. Whether it is or not, I'm not taking a position at this time. I know I've read a lot of articles that indicate that it's not. However, the state has the burden as an authentication hurdle to, as a foundation, establish that that technology is a reliable one. Because she is going to now, and she's introducing the matter for the truth, told the jury at opening, Mr. Demons, who she believes had the phone but has no proof of that to begin with, walks 70 steps. Says who? Says an app. What app? The one in his phone. Is it reliable? We don't know. Why? Because she has not established the reliability of the technology as a predicate to the admission of the data. So that is our number one foundation argument.
A case that you want me to read?
Yes, sir.
I'm happy to take a look at it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Here, I first start with citing back to State versus Maximit, which is a 1967 case, which was the earliest time in which I could find a pedometer being mentioned. And at that point,
They use it with the Alex Mordo stuff.
It's a well-established technology that's been in use for hundreds of years, initially done by train conductors to measure out distances. It's also allowed under the Florida statutes and used to be used to measure out distances for determination of 1,000 feet from a place of worship, a school, or anything else, for measuring distances for enhancement on drug penalties. So I'd start by handing that one to Your Honor. Then I also have State v. Birch, which is a Wisconsin case in which similar information was admissible and used in a homicide case. Then also the issue of cell phone dumps, and that's at 398 Wisconsin 2nd 1. And then even more recently, this was a federal case, United States versus Riego, R-I-E-G-O. I just have a Westlaw site because it's 2022, it is not yet. This is 2022 Westlaw 175-46714. And again, those discuss all of the location information and the activity and Apple Health data that was admitted in those cases. And I'll be happy to email copies of those to defense counsel now.
Thank you. All right, we're in recess. I'll read them.
Your Honor, may I also just direct your attention to a few articles, one of which indicates the highlight here. The reliability of the registered distances, however, depends on a number of factors, including walking speed and walking style of the subject, and can deviate up to 30 to 40% from the true value. That's one of the several articles here. And what I will do is I will compile articles and send them all back for your review while you're considering the issue, if you don't mind.
Sure, and the state would also submit in terms of law review articles, including a
Judge look annoyed.
wearable devices as admissible evidence. Technology is killing our opportunity to lie. The 2019, the iPhone health app from a forensic perspective can steps and distances registered during walking and running being used as digital evidence. And I would direct your attention to the Supreme Court of Alabama. That was Jeffrey West. The individual in that case was convicted as well based on some of the Fitbit data.
And may I just ask if the state is making the representation that all the cases she's citing to do not require that a witness establish the reliability of the technology? It's just put in?
It has been admitted, and I have some of the, send everything that I'm giving to His Honor, copy to you as well.
Okay.
Thank you. We're in recess.
Thank you.
Amazing. So a whole lot of nothing today with this trial. I wonder if this guy's going to be able to stop them from bringing that in. I mean, I've seen it used in the Alex Murdoch trial. I don't know. I don't know what other trials they've done it or haven't done it or denied it. I'm curious to see. He's doing his job though. This is what these people do. Supposed to try to stop and poke everything. Yes, it is boring. The trial's, boring. Cassie,
when a juror is pulled out of the jury room, sat down, and being asked questions. Now, let's remember how this happened. This was because she asked a question of the prosecutor, and there is an admonition that you shouldn't speak to the parties. And the prosecutor, if I heard this right at the time, indicated that he didn't know anything about it, about the mistrial motion. Now the judge comes out, it's clean. She heard about the mistrial motion because it was stated in court. And that's what she was asking about. She didn't hear from an outside influence. But I got to tell you, if I were the prosecutor in this case, I'd be concerned that a juror got pulled out. The juror clearly knows I'm the one who gave the information to the court. And I told the juror that I didn't know anything about that, which they shouldn't have said in the first place. The juror may not all be too happy with the prosecutor at this point. Thoughts?
I agree. They might think, well, hey, everything I'm saying, even this little unimportant thing is going to get back to the judge. But on the other hand, it may also strengthen the credibility of the prosecutor, right? Because the juror's not going to say, hey, you know what? This prosecutor plays by the rules, is above board.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. It's kind of lame today, man. It's kind of lame, the trial. Man, I'm glad we got to cover this other stuff today because the submersive submarine is, to me right now, way more interesting than this. A whole bunch of sidebars, not really much. I don't think there was a productive day. I mean, part of it was because of that juror that was in the hospital, food poisoning. So the whole thing with this, so let's see if we find something else on the sub thing. That kind of sucks that these people, I'll keep the screen on I'll keep an eye on it if they do come back. If they do come back. Yeah, that's true. I mean, those step things, I don't think they're that accurate. I mean, it's maybe you'll get somewhat of an idea, but I mean, I feel like I've gotten in the car and that step thing has gone up, even though it's not supposed to. Let's see what this is. Showing you how far down the Titanic is.
So I just want to show you guys how far down that.
Yeah, we're just watching this. I wonder if she took that guy's video. Like, I'm just throwing you.
Location is the ship above.
She overlaid her own music. Yeah, she overlaid her own music. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see. Submarine. Damn, Loggram has 6,000 people watching. Watching nothing. Hey. It says they're coming back in 5 minutes. Or maybe they're coming back from their break. I don't know. Whatever. Kind of sucks. Alright. Man, I just go to bed, bro. Fuck it. I just go to sleep. Ain't nothing happening. Let's see. Live. Missing submarine. Nothing. Let's check out some recent posts. Press conference. Still no contact with the missing submarine. News Nation, let's check this out. What supplies are on board that could help submarine passengers survive? Nothing.
Next, we'd like to welcome Christine Dennison. She's a co-founder and president of Mad Dog Expeditions, and we really appreciate you weighing in, Christine. So if this crew, if they're floating on the surface...
Yeah, she said that countdown is for the commercial break for the network, not for when the trial resumes.
They're still underwater. Can you highlight the conditions they're facing and what types of supplies may be on board that could potentially help?
Hi, thank you for having me. First of all, I have not been on the submersible, so there is some speculation, but I certainly do understand the conditions that they're in, the work that they're doing, and how difficult this operation is at this moment in time. The conditions are obviously very tight. We know it's a 21-foot sub. We understand there are five tourists in there, 5 men, different sizes. That all plays into physiology of how they're breathing, if they're panicking. I assume that they have some snacks with them, cameras. On an expedition like this, you would have a camera as much as you could take to chronicle such a momentous expedition for them. And above all, it's also at depth, it's dark. If they have lost or had a failure, a power failure, they are in the dark. They are cold. They are, I'm sure, frightened, and they are trying to remain calm and go through a process which none of us really ever want to find ourselves in, which is understanding what the ultimate outcome could be. The other scenario is that, sadly, they may have perished, that this may have imploded, in which case it makes this looking for this sub even that much harder, because we have so little information and it's trickling out, and we're looking at timelines of trying to create and recreate a scenario that is still not quite clear as to why certain things seem to have been done.
Certainly. And Christine, these remote operated vehicles appear to be the best chance of recovery in a power failure situation. Can you explain why, and just the intricacies of what it would take to pull this sub to the surface, if they can in fact locate it?
Yes. Well, it should have a pinger. And much like black boxes on a plane, that this is not a data collection, it's a pinger. So sonar would be able to pick it up. The ROVs are remote operated vehicles that, unfortunately, from the press conference, we didn't gather what capability the machines that they have on site are doing. And that really has to do with payloads. Every ROV has different payloads. They can go to different depths. They have cameras. They have sonar. So not knowing what the ability of this particular set of robots can do, it could be very limiting. What you need is a robot that can go down to 4,000 meters that will pick up a ping, assuming they are at depth, and be able to actually track that ping to a location.
I don't even think they have anything right now that can go down there, like at the moment there. Because I think they said the Coast Guard ROV, I forgot what video we watched, they can't go that far down. Even that ship that came out, I thought their thing can't go down that far. Maybe they are sitting at the bottom. I don't know.
Which then they have to continue the effort to get to that location. And then you get a whole host of other intricacies involving, are they entangled in debris? Are they at the bottom of the ocean? Exactly where. This is all very, very complex, and without the right robotics,
right,
it's looking for a needle in a haystack.
Well, absolutely. And I think that if you find the needle in the haystack and they are trapped in a debris field of the Titanic, perhaps, what are the specific challenges they're facing? How do you reach the vessel then?
I've worked with ROVs. We happen to own with our company, and it doesn't have that capability. But in working with them, what you have to assess the situation. And then again, as I mentioned, you apply the payloads. What you would want in this case, if you can locate the sub, if it happens to be entangled, you will put a robotic arm on your ROV. The idea and the best case scenario is that you can find it and that you can reach it and that you can attach a cable to it to bring it out. If it's entangled, it requires a much more delicate operation and a series of mechanisms on the ROV, such as arms, that could detangle, that could unwind. It's very complicated, and we're not there yet. The first thing is to pick up a ping.
Well, and it's certainly so many challenges with just bringing something that heavy to the surface. Not only finding it, that of course is the first order of business. So Christine Dennison, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your insight on this topic.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television.
Okay. This trial thing is still not back. Yeah, they pretty much, because I think they end at 5. It's about to be 3 o'clock now. They knocked out two witnesses with barely any kind of information besides here's the numbers, I guess. Let's see. Oh, this guy, did they ever find this guy's search is on for American diver who went missing in Bimini? There was that. There was the other thing with the migrants. Oh, they suspended the search for him. Ooh, damn. Search called off for free diver.
The Titanic is nearly 2, and it dwarfs, of course, some of the most well-known well below. The Titanic is nearly 2.5 miles deep underwater. If the sub made it all the way down, it could be tremendously difficult to find. The Titanic sits all the way down in the bottom right of your corner of your screen. It's deeper than if the Grand Canyon extended well below sea level, and it dwarfs, of course, some of the most well-known structures in the world if they were flipped upside down. Joining us now is Michael Zinzer. He was a Navy diver for 2 decades and also the former director of the Advanced Science Diving Program at Florida State University. Great to have you here. This sub is so small, about the size of a minivan, and it's so deep if it finished its descent. How do you find it?
It would be very difficult to find an object that size in water that deep. You know, some of the difficulties is because of the location and the depth of the search area that you're going to be going. You know, typical sonar operations that you could conduct from the surface, even still, would be almost impossible to locate such a small object that close, at the depth that it's sitting right now.
It's in a
Now
part
you
of the...
have the mesopelagic.
Yeah, I was just going to
Go
ask
ahead.
you about that. Talk about that part of the water where it is.
The area, the depth of the water it's sitting in, from about 200 to 1,000 meters, you have a thermocline where the density of the water changes from the surface to the 200-meter mark. So what happens is when sound goes down, and that's what sonar is. Sonar is an image made of sound, bounces off that level. So to be able to really to search the bottom, you have to penetrate through that whole depth from that 200 meters to 1,000 meters and search at the very bottom of it. And that is where the Titanic sits, is pretty much right at the base of that thermal level.
The military is using aircraft.
So that's going to be some of the serious issues that we have.
Right. The military is using aircraft that is designed to hunt for submarines. How do these aircraft work?
Well, I'm not an expert in aircraft. I'm an expert in search recovery and procedures in that area. You would have to talk to sonar techs that does the aviator sub hunters. But I can tell you during the Cold War, and I am sure the submariners today still use that particular area of the ocean to hide from their adversaries in submarine warfare. You shift levels going up and down to try to hide so the sonar is not able to detect you.
This is not a submarine designed for humans to live for weeks or months, as our military subs are. This sub has 96 hours of oxygen.
By the way, the Harmony Montgomery, they're saying there's a Harmony Montgomery update. Horrifying, shocking, gut-wrenching details about Harmony Montgomery's death have been revealed. All right, so we'll have to do that at some point too. Probably do a separate video for that.
These people only have until Wednesday morning to be found.
That's correct. That's right. Right now, this is a very critical spot in the search, and any search team would get together right now. They would get all the facts and information they can derive of the starting point where the sub went down, the last known location of the submarine, exactly where they were going, trace that area, look at the currents. Not just the surface currents, but you got the subsurface currents that may drag in case the submarine lost power and where it may wind up, which would probably reduce the swath area, but it's still going to be so large it would be very, very difficult to locate it. The best type of situation would be if this submarine had a pinger device on it, and the military would deploy some type of receiver to identify the pinger and trace it to the submarine. That's if that type of emergency equipment is on board the sub.
And then will decompression be an issue once they
Similar
find
to a
them?
black box.
Right. Will decompression be an issue?
Submarines are 1 atmosphere. Yeah, decompression should not be an issue. Submarines work at ambient pressure, which is the same pressure that we're in right here. The only problem that may be an issue if there is a breach in the pressure hole, say if there's a small leak or some of their oxygen canisters may have leaked and increased the internal pressure. And if that's the case, then decompression could be an issue. There's probably the bigger pressure or the bigger issue would be if their scrubber system that scrubs out the carbon dioxide from their breathing, the human body produces carbon dioxide as you breathe in and out. And just because you have a proper amount of oxygen, if their scrubbing systems aren't working appropriately, the CO2 level could increase to the point where they could go unconscious long before they run out of oxygen.
Right.
So there's
Damn. That's kind of are they back? Let me see.
The technology has advanced to the point of being reliable is yet to be determined. But this court cannot admit it until the state first meets its burden of establishing the reliability of the data that is compiled or purportedly developed as a result of the technology. Because we don't know if that technology is accurate. Whether it is or not, I'm not taking a position at this time.
I think it's a recap.
I know I've read a lot of articles that indicate that it's not. However, the state has the burden as an authentication, or at least the expert, not even the method. And so we raised the issue. We gave notice of an expert. The state took issue with it, raised a Daubert objection to it at that time. This is not a situation where the state presents us an expert. And we can't anticipate that the state is going to try to admit evidence before they admit it without the necessary predicate. And those cases actually speak to the objection being made at the time that it is sought to be introduced. As a matter of fact, some of those cases rejected the appeal because even though the predicate wasn't made, the objection wasn't made at the time the evidence was sought to be introduced. The state sought to introduce evidence without laying a foundation. Our objection is objection foundation. We're not making a Daubert objection to an expert who's testifying. He doesn't purport to be an expert. This is not a Daubert situation, Judge. This is a lack of foundation situation. And the fact that that foundation needs to be presented by somebody with expertise and knowledge doesn't make it a Daubert question. It's a foundation question. And before the state, I think those cases are clear. If the state is planning to put evidence in that relies upon the technology, they first have to establish the reliability of that technology. And that's the basis of our objection with respect to this stepdad. We've also made a relevancy objection to the fact that there is a wholesale dump of information coming in through a witness who said, I haven't even looked at it. How do we know that the information in there is relevant? How do we know that the information that has been introduced is not more prejudicial than probative, even if relevant, on a 404B? How do we know that it's doesn't contain 404B evidence that's inadmissible? The state has to establish the relevance of the information they seek to put in. They can't just put in everything from a phone and pick through what they think, and then the jury has in its possession a host of majority information that's not relevant to the proceeding, which is prejudicial. So that is the other basis for our objection. Also, a lot of the information contained in there is hearsay. They said, well, it's his phone, so there's no hearsay objection. There are texts between people. There's also evidence that we have that establishes that that phone was being used. The phone comes up as the name Sack Chaser Howard. Sack Chaser is the nickname of one of the decedents. That phone is used interchangeably so much that when you dial with it, it comes up with one of the decedents' name as the identifier. It's in the name of Jamie King, not Jamel Demons. It was retrieved from Jameson Francois, not Jamel Demons. So it's neither in his name, it wasn't retrieved from him, and it comes up with an ID. It was being used after the defendant was arrested. We have information here that indicates that definitively. It shows the phone being used to call. It shows the same step data from that very unit after he is incarcerated. So it's obvious that it's being used by several other people. So we can't even say that it's his phone and the information there is therefore all relevance, all information on it is non-hearsay because it's statements of the defendant. Not only is it being used by others to text, to call, being carried by others, it's in somebody else's name, retrieved from someone else, and this witness has not analyzed a single letter, all the information they're seeking to put in. So there is a ton of irrelevant evidence that is being introduced, And a lot of it is going to be prejudicial, 404B and 403 evidence. And that's why we objected before. I didn't wait until after, because one of the points that the court made is you already let it in. We objected before, Judge, and you told us, overruled, let it in. It's still a problem right now, and we're trying to stem the damage before it goes too far. And we think that the issue has to be addressed before this information is used and it goes forward, both on the foundation issue, on the technology issue, authentication issue, relevancy issue, 403, 404B issue.
Thank you. The relevancy issue is relatively low, counsel. My understanding, where's the phone located at, counsel?
The phone itself?
Yeah.
That will be introduced through the...
No, where was the phone located?
The phone was located, it was taken from the defendant's manager on February of 2019. The defendant was providing the passcode and information via jail calls to his manager to use it on that. And the phone also authenticates itself in terms of every single photo that is on that, whether it be a selfie, a screenshot of a FaceTime conversation, or anything of that, goes back to this defendant.
Then they have to establish it before they put it in, not after the fact, on this notion that they possess information that makes it relevant. If they do, present it, and then it's relevant at that time. We have, Your Honor, indications of this cell phone and this Instagram account that the state has introduced. The Instagram account is being used to post pictures days after his arrest, up to and including pictures of this very trial last week. This Instagram account is being used and accessible to a number of people. This notion that, oh, it's his account, he's an artist. It's a public account that several people have access to.
I'm sure you're going to be able to ask those type of questions, counsel. My thought is this, counsel. It's not fair to basically give me an inch worth of things to read, cases to read, articles to read, saying it's not, the methodology is, and basically the Daubert issue on it, it's not clear, it's not been established, all those types of things. That should have been done pre-trial. I haven't seen what's on the account. I don't disagree with that. Counsel's telling me it's relevant because of X, Y, and Z there. You're saying it's not, but I don't know what is the 403 analysis, what's more prejudicial and probative. I haven't seen anything about that. I don't know what it is. I haven't seen it. You haven't made me aware of it. You're just saying it's something's more prejudicial than probative. If it is, I'm more than happy to go through one at a time with you and find out. But as far as who used the phone, what was it being done, counsel's saying it's relevant to establish his phone. So I've made my ruling. You've made your objection. So everybody knows where they stand on it. All right, so it's admitted. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
I think it's annoying.
All right, bring the jury back in.
Process, Mr. Howard, are you finished with your cross, or do you have additional questions? Yes.
I don't think he has any relevant information. He said.
So you're finished?
Bring the jury.
Let me ask a few.
Oh, Lord. So who's the next witness? They've been dragging. All aboard.
Jury entering.
All aboard. What a riveting day of the trial. Exhilarating, exciting, breathtaking. No, I know trials are really, it can be very.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Sorry for the delay. Please be seated. Let the record once again reflect the presence of the defendant, his counsel, the assistant state attorney. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, all witness remains on the stand.
Oh, he's still here? Should.
Yes, I have a few more, Your Honor. Thank you. You did, sir, 2 data dumps from the device in question.
I did 2 or 1?
You did 2 of them, did you not?
I did on this device, I did 1 extraction.
You only did it once?
If I recall.
Okay.
The sidebar.
Did you have the data verified by any third party for completeness of the download?
No.
And you made that decision, was it your decision whether or not to do that kind of verification?
Yes.
Okay, and you elected not to?
Where, Cheese? I don't see no Chase. This is Chase?
Correct, I elected not to.
Let's see.
Did you have an engineer review any of the data that you retrieved?
No.
And have you validated that the Cellbrite extracts in the data that you did were in fact complete?
The extraction is the extraction, and that's what I got out of it. That's what the machine gave me, yes.
Okay, and how did you verify that the machine gave you a complete download?
I understand when you say a complete download.
You said you don't understand what I mean?
No, we can elaborate on that.
How did you verify that the machine, the Cellbrite software that you used, downloaded the contents of the phone in its entirety? How did you go about verifying that?
That is not something that I can verify. That is whatever the data that comes from that phone and appears on the software. That's what I have. That's what I can do with.
Okay, so you can't verify?
I cannot, no.
Is there a process of maybe testing? Is there another, first of all, software that you can use to download the information?
Sure, there is other software.
And you only use the Cellbrite?
Correct.
And if you use another software and compare the downloads, that would be one way for you to test it, whether or not the download was complete, right?
In theory, I guess so, yes.
In actuality.
All right, I'll stipulate that.
Okay. So when you say there's no way to do it, it is what it is, what you're saying is there is a way to do it, and you didn't do it.
If that's what you want to call it, but it's not true. That's not correct.
Oh, so you did test it on another software?
No, I did not, but this is the only software that I have available to me.
Okay. So it's not that you had another software available to you that could help to verify the completeness and accuracy of your results. It's that you can do it, but you didn't have that software available to you.
Well, correct, I did not do it, no.
Do you know anything about the testing of the technology of Cellbrite as to its efficiency and operability?
No, I don't. I'm not an engineer for them.
So you, pardon me?
I'm not an engineer for them.
Okay. So it would take an engineer to do that?
Or somebody from that company, not me.
Okay. So it's like any kind of software. If you have the software and it doesn't work in totality or it doesn't work completely, you're stuck with the answers.
I'm not understanding what you're trying to get at. If you rephrase it one more time, I appreciate that.
If that Cellbrite did not give you a complete and accurate download, you would have no way of knowing it.
That is correct.
because you didn't have comparable software or similar software to test the results against.
Correct.
Okay, so you're just trusting in the faith, you're just having faith that it's set right.
Sustained.
You are relying upon the accuracy and completeness of the Celebrite technology, right?
That's correct.
Even though you don't know anything about whether or not it works properly.
Correct.
Okay. Have you ever done a data dump from a phone more than once? Any phone?
Yes.
On Celebrite?
Yes.
And was it a phone that left your possession and then you regained possession of it?
When you're saying left my possession, I'm sorry.
In other words, it left the custody strikeout. In the instances when you have downloaded information from a phone on using Celebrite more than once, I presume you did it for a reason.
So one of the reasons why I probably would do it is maybe a software update from Celebrite.
Okay, that's one of the reasons. What else? What are the other reasons you might do it?
That's the only reason that I would use it for.
Okay. Can I have one more, John?
Yes.
Men found dead.
We have some breaking news to tell you about right now. The TABC has issued a...
So it is your testimony, sir, that you didn't do an extraction from this phone in June? What year is this? And then another at a later date?
I don't recall.
Or at an earlier date in April?
I don't recall.
So you have any information there before you? Any of your reports that would indicate that?
I had one that was completed on February 28th.
February 28th. Okay.
2019, I think it was.
Okay. Nothing further. Thank you.
Councilor Zaire, redirect.
Briefly, Your Honor. Detective Zeller, counsel asked you whether or not Celebrite is accurate.
Correct.
In your training and experience, can you speak on that particular subject?
Objection?
What's the objection?
This witness has already testified that he can't speak.
Sustained.
So, Detective Zeller, in terms of you've used Celebrite numerous times.
That's correct.
Approximately how many?
Hundreds.
Have you found any instances in which Celebrite added data to a forensic download or dump that wasn't on the phone itself?
I'm sorry.
Objection.
What's the objection?
You would have no way of knowing that.
Overruled.
Can you ask it one more time? Sorry.
Have you ever had an instance in which Celebrite has added data to the forensic extraction or data dump that was not on the phone itself?
That was not on the phone. Not that I'm aware of.
In terms of the way to physically review, how would you do that on a cell phone and compare it against a Celebrite extraction?
Well, there's a couple things I could do. I could look at the different artifacts that are extracted, meaning, so I would look maybe at a particular phone call was made at a certain time and date, or a certain picture that was there at a certain time and date, or a video, or so on and so forth, whatever that's there. That's one way of doing it, yes.
So I want to make sure I'm clear. Are you saying you would look at outside evidence from the phone and see if it agrees?
Correct, yes.
In terms of the information and the data that's put out there, what is the purpose of taking it off the phone?
Well, you also don't want to use the original, and you're pretty much making a copy of the phone so that you don't ruin anything, delete anything, or compromise the device, or anything of that nature. So you work off that copy.
In terms of when the phone is brought to you, are there steps that are taken to make sure that there's no outside or internet or network access with the phone?
Yeah, so usually the phones are put in what's called airplane mode, where you disable all cellular connections.
And in terms of the type of extraction that was done in this case, what type of extraction was done?
This is called an advanced logical extraction. So,
what does that mean?
So there's different forms of extraction. The advanced logical pretty much gets, for the most part, when I use the word everything on there, when I say everything, meaning the context, their pictures, their videos, the communications, any sort of communications that are on there, deleted items, specifically deleted items.
Okay. And in terms of to get the advanced logical extraction, what information do you need as an examiner?
Meaning, I'm sorry.
Do you need the passcode to the phone?
Yes, you do need the password, correct, yes.
Nothing further now.
Is this witness excused?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You may step down. You're excused.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. For your next witness, please.
Brendan Collins.
Tuesday Frog, thank you for the super chat. Said Mel, there's a chase. I couldn't find anything, but Diggs found something. I guess it was Dallas, maybe. It said that I guess there was some type of chase, but or I don't know. I don't think there was ever any video feed. It says officers have lost sight, no longer pursuing. Sounds like the pursuit began at Chase Bank. Then it was discontinued due to excessive speeds. Suspect vehicle is pulling ahead of officer's sight.
Thank you, Brendan Collins.
Yes, sir.
Welcome. This is our witness stand. Can you go over here, please? When you get there, just remain standing for a bit. Raise your right hand and be sworn.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
And state your full legal name for the record.
Brendan Collins.
Please spell your first and last name for the court record.
My first name is spelled B-R-E-N-D-A-N.
Oh, it's a long day with this trial thing.
Thank you. Please be seated. Mr. Collins, that microphone in front of you, adjust up or down, but doesn't move back and forth.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Counsel, you may.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Collins. How are you?
Good afternoon, I'm doing well.
Where are you employed?
I'm an FBI agent, so I'm employed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and my full job title is Supervisory Special Agent.
And how long have you held that position?
This current position, about 18 months. I've been employed by the FBI for since 2012.
And as far as education, what types of degrees do you hold?
I have a bachelor's.
And is it in a specific area?
I was a history major in college.
Were you employed anywhere else prior to working for the FBI?
By the Army.
And how long were you employed by the Army?
About 6.5 years. I had a couple of different jobs.
Okay. Going back to where you're working now, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, what are your responsibilities as an FBI agent?
Well, agents do all sorts of different things. Generally, agents are all investigators, and in the FBI, we investigate a myriad of crimes from violent crimes, economic crimes. We also have national security mandates. Me specifically right now, I'm the supervisor of a squad that focuses on transnational organized crime.
So do you also have an ancillary assignment?
Not right now, I used to.
Would you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what is the CAST team for the FBI?
So CAST, or the Cellular Analysis Survey Team, is a group of specially trained and equipped agents and task force officers who do cellular analysis or mobile device location analysis.
And so when you say that, what types of records are you working with?
Usually records from phone companies or other service providers.
Okay. Can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what is historical cell site analysis?
Sure. So when someone uses a phone or a mobile device to do something, to make a call, to send or receive a text, to check a sports score, or check your email, post something on social media, That's to connect to the cellular network or through the internet. When you connect through the cellular network, there's a record that's generated by your phones, by the phone company. So you have T-Mobile gives you service to your cell phone. When you make a call, you'll see records on your T-Mobile sheets about that call.
Oh, is
cell site analysis
no
uses those
LHA's
records to answer
book
questions.
bill? Never mind.
So what's the purpose of historical cell site analysis?
To help with investigations.
And what are the main components of a historical cell site analysis?
Well, if you're being asked to do like a location analysis, in other words, the case involves trying to determine where a particular device was at a certain point in time, you really have three things that you need. First, you need the records for that particular device. That will say that it'll look at the initial records, like a call detail record, for instance, will sort of look like a billing statement that you might get from a phone company. It will say, this date and time, this phone number, place this call to this other number, etc. Except it will also have additional information. It will say a cell tower that the phone connected to when it made that call. So you need that record of the device. You also need a record of tower locations that says, okay, the tower the phone connected to is located at this particular point on the earth. You put those two things together into some sort of mapping software and it plots it, and then it will give you a general area of where the device was at the time that it connected to that tower.
So you said device. Can you testify a specific person was in a specific area?
No.
Why not?
Because the records I have are just about devices.
Okay. So there are limitations to your testimony.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm talking about devices, not people.
Have you received any specialized training to become an agent that does CAST as
Yes.
well? What is that?
To be CAST certified is pretty extensive. There's several stages that the certification process is broken into. The first, so I started my initial training in 2017. The first phase of training is the CAST basic course. That's a 2 or 3 day course where agents and officers from our local, state, or other federal agencies are exposed to what cellular analysis is and how to do it at the basic level.
Do you use the CAST work in your day-to-day cases? Before you became a supervisor?
Yes.
And so is this a required assignment to go to the CAST team?
No, I don't want to interrupt, but there's a lot more training than just that 2 day thing. Is that okay?
Let's start with, to do that first 2 day training.
Yeah, so the first
Is that mandatory?
Yes.
For this?
Yeah.
Oh, he loves
that.
He likes
Is
her.
that something you have to apply for?
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and to explain after that first initial training, what happens? What's the next level of training you complete?
So the next course is called the advanced course, and it's a week-long course. And that's just a more in-depth dive into each of the networks. So specifically, what are the uniquenesses of, say, Verizon or T-Mobile, AT&T, Sprint when it was a standalone provider? What do their records look like? What are the uniquenesses of the way their network's designed, et cetera? After the advanced course, then we have a sort of test. It's like a week long. When I went through, it was a mix of part in the classroom and part in the field, where it's all scenario based. So you, for instance, you'd be like a kidnapping scenario. You'd be like, hey, this child was abducted. Your job as the asset going through it to try and use the records to develop a search location and say, hey, I think that we need to go here to try and recover the child. You do a portion in the classroom, you do a portion in the real world where they have test phones set up in different locations, and you validate the results right there. So you either find the person or you wouldn't. And at the end, you either pass or fail. So I passed, and I was allowed to continue to the certification course, which is a 4-week course. The first 2 weeks are very academic. We have a week that's basically a semester's worth of material condensed into a week. It's put on by professors from the Florida Institute of Technology. We bring in representatives from all the major cell phone providers in the U.S., both their law enforcement relations and records custodians personnel. We talk about these are the types of records that we keep in our specific record, our specific company. We also bring in personnel from the network engineers, so the people who build the network, who design it. We go to infrastructure, so I think like the Sprint Network Operations center where they oversee the management of the whole the network across the country, et cetera. And then at the end of that, there's a test, and you either pass and are certified, or you don't.
Okay, so Special Agent Collins, are you certified in cast analysis?
Yes.
How long have you held that certification for?
I got certified in September of 2018.
Is there continuing education or recertification that's required?
Yes. So to keep your cast certification, every year you have to attend a recertification course.
Okay. Is all of the training specifically from the FBF?
No.
What other agencies and I guess companies do the training for you?
Yes, we have partnerships, or not partnerships, but we'll bring in educators from a lot of different companies. So obviously the different telecommunications companies are critical. So we have them come to the recertification conference every year. We've had a range of other people. We've had Apple, Qualcomm, Oracle, people in the field of GPS, cellular engineering, vehicles for vehicle telematics, and anybody that's sort of involved in that ecosystem.
Okay, so you mentioned Apple, Qualcomm. What are those?
Those are different manufacturers.
Is there also specific as to cellular technology and how it works, training on that?
For what?
In terms of being a CAST certification?
After recertification?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been specializing in call detail records analysis?
So call detail record analysis is really like the bread and butter of what CAST does. So since I started the training process in 2017, that's when I first really got exposed to working call detail records or CDRs.
Okay, and approximately how many times have you done this type of analysis?
I've done more than 130 cases that have included more than approximately 300 sets of records.
When you say a set of records,
yeah,
what does that mean?
Like a call detail record or an engineering report, some sort of data report, some sort of report from a phone company about a particular device.
And in terms of the types of cases that you've worked, what have they been?
Again, violent crimes like homicides or shootings, white-collar crimes, and then public corruption, crimes against children, terrorism.
Okay. Have you worked cases where you've been called upon to determine the location of a cell phone?
Yes.
How many?
I mean, for the 130 so cases that I've helped with, the vast majority of those have to do with location, historical location of the phone.
Have you had the opportunity to validate your historical call data reconstructions or that you do?
Yes.
And how do you do that?
Well, as we mentioned sort of during the, I was talking about the train up, if it's a situation, a case where we're trying to find someone who we believe is in possession of the device, and you do an analysis and you say, I think we need to go to this house, and we go there and the person and the phone are there, that's validation. If we have a case where we have some sort of other evidence that corroborates it, like a crimes against children case, and there's metadata on media that was produced at a specific location, and we have a cell site that says, okay, we know this film or something was produced here, and here's what the cell site looks like, that corroborates it. A couple of examples.
So when you say metadata, can you explain what that is?
Yeah, that's outside of what I do with CAST, but that would be something that would be in a media file, perhaps, that somebody else would you extract the file from a phone using a physical extraction device or a computer or some other device. Sometimes there's metadata embedded within the image or the video or whatever that will tell you different things, such as when the picture or movie was produced, where it may have been produced, or the picture may have been taken, etc.
Here at this time, I would offer Special Agent Collins as an expert in the area of historical cell site and cellular technology and offer for water.
Hey, you want to come slide up, sir?
Guess it's a fight every step of the way. Every single step of the way. So it's the FBI agent. Oh, I don't know if they're gonna run late today, but damn it does feel like the time has slowed down drastically. Holy crap! As soon as we started this trial, like time just slowed down. I feel like it was It's 3:37. I feel like I've been looking at the time for a while. It's been 3:30 something for a long ass time. Jesus. Lord.
Thank you. Can we arrange for a restroom break for Mr. Demons, please?
Yes, Judge.
We'll be in recess.
They take a bathroom break like every 15 minutes. Wow, bro. Talk about like, I don't know. It just feels like very inefficient the way things are being run. I mean, I don't know. Compared to some of the other trials. I mean, Letitia stock trial, they were just boom, 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 going. This one's like crawling on the floor. Mo, guess what? Let me see something. So now they're charging Andrew Tate and his brother. Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan will face trial in Romania after being charged with human trafficking offenses and constituting organized crime. So now they're actually charging him? Because before, I think he's been in there all this time without a charge. That's pretty big news. They're charged alongside two Romanian female suspects accused of forming the alleged organized crime group in 2021 that trafficked people in Romania and other countries, including US and UK. Wow. Tate brothers are accused of Tate brothers are accused of tricking 7 women into sexual exploitation on fake promises of a relationship or marriage. The technique authorities labeled as lover boy method. The Tate brothers spokesperson said, "We embrace the opportunity it presents to demonstrate their innocence and vindicate their reputation." Yeah, this trial's been kind of like
to do something, to make a call, to send or receive a text.
In a statement announcing the decision to move the trial, Romania's Directorate for the Investigation of Organized Crime and Terrorism said the authorities seized Bitcoin worth an estimated $385,000 from cryptocurrency wallets belonging to Tate's. They also seized 15 buildings and areas of land, 15 luxury cars, 14 luxury watches, 2 ingots, blocks of usually precious metal, and a medal as part of their investigation. Damn. Oh shit. Yeah, this is just really a drag, dude. We just could have ended the stream and watch whatever later, or like if it's actually anything, come back for it. If not, move on to the next day. Let me see if he actually posted anything on his Twitter page. I could sit through a boring trial for weeks. I bet you can. Correct. This is the case against me. Due to Tate's global influence, the Matrix sent 2 female agents in an attempt to frame him. They were unsuccessful. Nycot used this as a catalyst to begin the process of forever surveillance.
It's about a conversation between two young women of foreign nationality before the first raids in April. Well, as the WhatsApp conversations show, if they're not taken out of context and they're complete, it would seem that the girls planned the whole story that followed. Here are the WhatsApp conversations between them. You're a good actress, true. I've been practicing. Perfect. Just play it cool. Understood. Like you don't know anything. Play dumb. I'm going to cry a little. And play dumb. Good advice. Thanks, babe. At the time of the conversation with her mother, Emma had been in the villa in Pipera for a day, and surprisingly, although she and Leona lived in the same house and room, they talked on WhatsApp how to act. Yet, we are so good, we deserve an Oscar. Shall we go? Let's play nice and change my name. Yes, I told you to be like saying a nice message that we suffer or something like that, and that we love them, but we just don't like the situation, so they don't think we're really against them, you know? I am not a victim. Beatrice is not a victim. There are no victims in this case, and there is no crime.
Ai fost amenințată?
No, I'm not a victim, even though the prosecution is telling me I am. I've told them this over and over again, but they won't change it. I need you all to wake up and see what's going on around you.
The Matrix. The Matrix. Maybe that's the next roller coaster we'll ride. It's a good thread. I should save this. Let me archive this somewhere. I'll never find it again. Like everything else, right? I have all this shit I save and never. Let's see. I guess this will do it. Don't touch my drum set. It's Romania. You could probably be found guilty of killing Biden over there for sure. Romania. I'm not really a roller coaster person. I mean, I haven't really been on many. I haven't really, rarely. I don't think I've been on nothing. I've never been on anything crazy. The only thing I've ever been on is like the thing you sit on and it kind of goes up and I think you go upside down. And that's it. I haven't really done roller coasters. I always think about the failures that could happen and the deaths that could happen. And then I look it up and search it. I think I was looking up Disney deaths recently. This is what a day. This shit, why even have a trial today? They're just recapping. It's the same shit. I don't.
Okay. Is all of the training specifically from the FDF?
No.
What other agencies and I guess companies do the training for you?
Yeah, so we have partnerships, or not partnerships, but we'll bring in educators from a lot of different companies. So obviously the different telecommunications companies are critical. So we have them come to the recertification conference every year. We've had a range of other people. We've had Apple, Qualcomm, Oracle, people in the field of GPS, cellular engineering, vehicles for vehicle telematics. I mean, anybody gets sort of involved in that ecosystem.
Okay, so you mentioned Apple, Qualcomm. What are those?
Those are different manufacturers.
Is there also specific as to cellular technology and how it works, training on that?
For what?
In terms of being a CAST certification.
After recertification?
Yes.
Yes.
How long have you been specializing in call detail records analysis? To give your Honor a copy of
And now it's
the
back.
order that was discussed about the report that was done by Judge Siegel. This was signed on April 4th of 2022. Sure.
Are you intending to seek to admit the report?
It was on break. I think they just came back now.
Yes, and that's what that.
Should we just object now that reports are inadmissible?
I don't know what you're speaking of.
I don't think we admitted to admitting the report. We said we would
Excuse
agree.
me, I only want to hear from one. Whose witness is this going to be?
This is my witness, Judge.
All right, so you make the objection. So this is an order on the admissibility of expert witness testimony by Federal Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Brendan Collins. Let me read it. Is your order to judge?
Oh, yeah, she got gold heels.
To the admissibility at trial of the expert testimony of Special Agent Brendan
Let's see. Let's take a look. Oh, it's not gold. I don't know what that is. I don't know.
Says here, defendant stipulated to the admissibility regarding the cellular analysis survey team cast report, and based upon
The water.
The defendant's stipulation, it is order and judge that Special Agent Collins' expert testimony in the area of cellular phone forensics and on the cast report is admissible at trial. What's the issue?
So I believe counsel is trying to state that we are going to object to the admissibility of the cast report. We had stipulated to his testimony after deposing him. And then I will also bring to the record, she's trying to bring in 3 different cast reports. When we had deposed Agent Collins, we only had deposed him as to 1 cast report. We had extensive conversations about whether the state would be bringing in the additional cast reports. We had agreed at that time, if they were going to bring in those reports, she would let us know and we would depose him again. That never happened. We were always told it would be the 1 report of the 2 phone numbers. And which we are objecting to the admissibility of those reports based on hearsay. Also, they are misleading, and also the information in those reports have not been properly validated by an engineer.
Okay, so as of April 4th, 2022, what report was in existence as far as Special Agent Collins?
So the first one that was with regards to Anthony Williams' cell phone, as well as Mr. Demon's cell phone. That one was
What
done.
other reports are out there?
The other ones were generated in May of 2022 and immediately turned over to defense counsel, and I have a very different recollection of that. This was listed at the same time as Mr. Zeller that we just had, so there was never any additional request to depose this witness. But Special Agent Collins has been available for the last however long if they so chose to do so.
And Judge, I would just for the record make an objection to for characterizing that particular phone that is actually registered to David King as Mr. King's. I don't believe that has been established.
Thank you. So, what is the report?
Judge, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I asked for the report. I need to know what the report says. I'm not familiar with it.
Yes, sir. So they're all substantially similar. They do different cell phones at different times. That one is the one of Mr. Demons and Mr. Williams, explaining how the cellular.
Lila.
Explaining how.
I don't understand. I'm asked for what the report is. I want to see it, and you say objection again. What's your objection?
My objection is to the characterization of that it's Mr. Gibbonsstone and Mr. Williamstone, actually.
Yes.
Do you have another copy of the report?
First emailed it to Miss Liberty.
This dude over here, like, why the hell y'all looking at us?
I'll give it to him.
Thank you.
Man, I'll go to sleep this shit. Yeah, I mean, I got like an email hours ago. Somebody was like, "Oh, the sub was found," but there's no information about that. There's nothing's come out at all about it being found or anything like that. People love to say that, so we're waiting to see any updates, but it has not been. I'm not even sure why somebody would spread that, but yeah, so far nothing.
What is Agent Collins going to do?
Agent Collins would testify as to how he does the analysis, how he generates those timing advance bands, and what it means as to the location of the cellular devices based on the records, which is all done as a product of the accuracy of the records and the fact that the cell phone communicates in a consistent way based on the laws of physics with a cell phone tower.
Because in here, it talks about the phone 772-713-9807. T-Mobile says Jamel Demons. This goes below 954-248-9081. T-Mobile Anthony Williams. And it has the date of the report being May 12th, 2022.
Yes, Your Honor.
So this report date is after the order date.
It is. That is the second. It's the same one. It was all done at the same time. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there was a typo that had to be finished on the spelling of the defendant's name, which is why it was generated at a second time on that point.
May I respond to it?
You respond, you say what you want, counsel.
I would just say the simple fact that it has Mr. Evans' name on it, Mr. Williams' name, that needs to be submitted along with the other 3 reports, which were actually filed after the post-op. It is my recollection that we were told in court that they would not be used. There was a question if Jameson Francois' CAS report would be used. She didn't give us a definitive answer. We finally rested on the fact that she was not going to be using Mr. Francois' phone. So it is a little bit of surprise that is now being introduced at trial. And the other one, I believe, with Withers, we never ever discussed it.
Hold on.
Yes, sir.
Hold on.
Yes, sir.
I don't fully understand this order dated April 22nd. It says, order to judge Special Agent Collins' expert testimony in the area of cellular phone forensics and on the cash report. So he's going to testify. I wouldn't normally admit a cash report. I don't see why it would come in here. I don't see this specifically saying it's admissible. I see it's saying Special Agent Collins' expert testimony in the area of the cellular phone forensics and on the cash reports in this lawsuit. He can testify. He's here. You can ask him questions that you want, but I don't believe I'd be letting this into evidence. It's just, he's here. His testimony is his testimony.
And so, with regards to that, the necessity of the maps is that the Special Agent Collins is going to testify in terms of latitude, longitude, and distances on that. Without a map and using that for the jurors to be able to understand where this is being placed on the actual map, that's going in a vacuum.
Well, he can show it as a demonstrative aid if that's going to help him illustrate his testimony. I don't have an issue with that. That's a different question to me. Typically, we don't just admit an expert's report. The expert's here is going to testify.
Yes, sir.
And it's not clear for me from this order that that's what Judge Siegel anticipated, that the report was coming in. I don't have any issue regarding his testimony. They're not even, defense indicated they're not even going to voir dire him regarding his qualifications. So, he's able to testify. But as far as the report coming in, I don't read your order that way, respectfully.
Understood. So, Your Honor, then if I can show the admissibility of the maps with that on there, then you would evaluate them as they're offered individually.
I don't have an issue. I mean, if he's able to identify them and talk to them, that's a different issue. You're wanting to admit the whole report in as the way I understand it as substantive evidence, and typically that's not the way it's done. I mean, the testimony is the testimony of the witness. Not the report. Otherwise, it's cumulative. It's duplicative of whatever he was going to testify to. I don't see the order talks about a date in April. This report was given after that date. I don't know if this is what the judge intended. You said there were some amendments. I don't know what the amendments are. I don't know if they were approved by the defense. They're saying they're objecting to it. Typically, that's just not done the way it's being done, putting in the document.
So, Your Honor, there are a trend number of cases on that specific issue, which I'm happy to provide the court.
What specific issue? About a report coming in?
About the maps and the mapping being admissible. So that would be...
I'm not concerned about the mapping. I'm concerned about the report per se.
Well, I just want to make sure we're clear on what specifically. So some of them, this specific items are demonstrative on that. So for example, and I can put it up so everybody can see so it's clear. So Special Agent Collins, I anticipate would testify that, for example, there is cell power usage and how that would be displayed on that. So that wouldn't be confused with cell site usage. So that's because there could be the possibility that a juror would think, well, this is showing that the phone is somewhere in this purple area, which would not be correct, as opposed to, for example, a timing advanced illustration, which in this case, the witnesses can testify that the phone is somewhere in this band based on, and then as well as, so in terms of the way the mapping is then done, to make it clear and understand that these red dots are not the specific locations, but rather the towers that are used. I think it's important for the jurors to understand that and have the first part of that analysis there so that there can't be any sort of improper recall by the jurors on that. So then as to the locations on those, then this would be one of the timing advance. So if they don't have the other first part,
Judge, I think it's renewed again.
Excuse me, counsel. I don't think she's done.
Okay, sorry, Judge.
So it's more
Prior
so
done.
the fact that the time in advance data and the way it is done, I don't want there to be any confusion to the jurors to saying that this is overstating the evidence. So if I just put in these particular items without the full explanation, because I don't think it is appropriate to do so without the jurors understanding the limitations of the testimony and what the different maps show. So on that would be the specific parts the state would be seeking to introduce, because the locations of the towers are important to how the math is done.
My understanding is the defense is objecting to that exhibit. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
Does that include the maps?
That does include the maps, Judge.
So they're objecting to it. So I guess you have, in some way, it has to come out how it was done. And you can talk to the witness and see if he can, authenticate it. Originally I was thinking that you were using him as demonstrative, and I would ask him if that helps illustrate his testimony or not. But if you're saying it, you're not concerned with that, you want to admit them into evidence. So the objection is, what's the objection?
That it's irrelevant. I would also object to the fact that
It's not relevant?
It is not relevant. It's also referring to Mr. Demon's phone. Nobody's established that number was his. It's referring to Mr. Williams' phone. You've got no testimony that establishes that it's Mr. Williams' phone. If we were to go to the other two reports, I don't know how the court's ruling on them. Again, she's referencing the phone numbers, assigning them to people. We have had no testimony or evidence before the court that those actual phone numbers belong to those individuals.
Thank you. So I haven't heard any phone numbers being assigned to any individuals.
If I may, Your Honor,
Sure.
that is why the state introduced the phone slip that has been brought in through the defendant's fingerprint, that he endorsed that as his telephone number, and as such, the state can now argue that. As to all of the other individuals, those are coming in from the phone records themselves. For example, Duntidius Withers and Chris Thomas, as I went through with the Sprint records custodian.
So let me start. What is the phone number that's on that corner sheet that you're saying is Mr. Demers?
772-713-9807. And that's why we had the fingerprint analysis done, and they came in and identified that as the fingerprint of the defendant.
Thank you. And what's the next phone number?
The next two phone numbers that are the easiest ones to go through, Your Honor, are the phone numbers of Christopher Thomas, 772-713-2341. And if Your Honor recalls,
713341. Should be another number.
772-713-2341. And I can bring up here for Your Honor the specific information on Mr. Thomas's phone that was brought in earlier through the Sprint records custodian. And there's the phone number at the top of the screen, 772-713-2341. Billing address for Chris Thomas.
All right.
Going down in the same records, because they were produced at the same time. In addition, the email address with it is Chris Thomas 86. Again, consistent with Christopher Thomas. The next phone number that is on this particular is 954-371-7895. And that is belonging to an individual by the name of Duntidius Withers.
Are there any other phone numbers this witness is going to be testifying on?
Yes, Your Honor. He would also be testifying on the T-Mobile records to the individual by the name of Jameson Francois, and to go to the subscriber information for Mr. Francois's phone. This is related to Miss Adria Scott, which there's been testimony that Adria, or AA, is the wife of Jameson Francois. In addition, that phone number for Mr. Francois, 954-376-9158, is consistently in the phone download of Mr. Demons and is listed as track. And there are plenty of photographs and things of that nature that would show and illustrate that Mr. Jameson Francois, also known as Track, is the owner of that phone number.
But it's actually in his wife's name.
Correct. And if you, the rest of the subscriber information also says it is a family plan with multiple lines.
Right,
Rate plan, family, unlimited, 2 lines included.
On the subscriber information for the first phone that you're suggesting is Mr. Demons, what does that subscriber information look like?
That comes back to his mother, Jamie King.
Bum, 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 bum. Lord almighty.
Let's go back now. What's on the I don't know what the exhibit number was. Did you print out anything on these phones? I think there was a printout. They objected to it.
There's multiple printouts on the phone, not all of which have been entered into evidence at this point, Your Honor.
But what's in evidence so far?
I can pull that up and take a moment. This is in State 64.
This is the extraction.
That's correct. For example, 954-346. Three 7-6-9-1-5-8. There are 1,129 messages between the phone owner, Mr. Demons, and other individuals in which Mr. Francois is a participant in those conversations.
So again, you indicated this is Mr. Demon's phone. You just told me the subscriber information reflects that it's his mother's phone.
The plan is paid for by his mother. His mother's phone is in here. She is listed under Brazy, B-R-A-Z-Y, lady, and that's the 772-501-6942, which is listed as an additional number subscriber on the phone for Mr. and the phone records from T-Mobile for Mr. Dimmons.
Judge, I just want to point out, she's saying that these are messages between Mr. Demons and various people. This cell rate actually tells you, like she stated, like it's going to track, but it's coming from young Sat Chaser Howard, and he's registering as the owner of the 9807 phone, which in these reports keep going back to Mr. Demons, but in the cell rate is showing young Sat Chaser Howard.
And so in further showing as to who owns the phone, we can look at all the videos and images of Mr.
Kelly, thank you.
Demons, of which there are over 1,000 videos on the phone showing he is the user and owner of this particular device.
Judge, again, I have nothing that shows that he's the user and owner. It shows that whoever had possession of this phone took videos of Mr. Demons. They're not selfies. These are actually pictures that appears to be taken by another party.
Well, these are all videos, actually. If you want to go to the selfies, I can go to the 10,963 images to show some of those.
I don't know how she's determining your selfies, Judge, without a testimony to such.
So, for example, in this particular image, it's a screenshot of a FaceTime conversation in which the large image is going to be the person who's on the other line. The local device is going to be the tiny picture up at the top, which is of Mr. Demons. This is just one of many, many examples.
And can you go back to the main subscriber information page?
In terms of this one? Yes.
So where does it show who the subscribers are?
This is from the device itself, Your Honor. This is an extraction from Celebrate that phone in terms of information as to user accounts that are on this particular phone. You have YNW Melly booking at gmail.com. You have YNW Melly a Twitter account. You have YNW Melly an Instagram account. You have Melly.Montana, the Snapchat account, which the Snapchat is already in evidence of showing that one. You have Jamel.Demons, a Facebook account as well on that. In terms of the content of the messages themselves as well, show that this was Mr. Demons' phone and that he is sending out information and things personal to himself on this. So there are multiple different types of information to show them.
Judge, if I may, if we were to actually go through all of these, I've informed the court before, you're going to see messages from both of the DCs to their girlfriends, to other people.
TJ Cross, thank you for the not TJ Cross. Kelly, thank you so much for gifting the 5 memberships. Amazing. And TJ Cross, thank you for the 3-month membership. Love you, Mel, and everyone in the chat. Thanks.
I don't think bringing up the Celebrate or a couple of selfies proves that it was actually his phone. For that argument, there's pictures of Michael Jackson on there. So can I say that Michael Jackson is well owning this phone? Based on her argument, that's what she's stating. I don't think she has given any definitive proof that this was 100%
This is his phone.
possessed only by Mr. Demons.
Demons is the correct pronunciation. Okay, thanks, Deb.
Picture of Nadia's, I guess he shared the phone in the future also.
They keep saying demons. Demons.
Hey, anything else?
It's not demons, that's demons.
No, anything else from the defense?
I would just point out that not only is that phone in Jaden King's name, so is the phone she's trying to assign to Anthony Williams is the victim's name.
Well, I don't, the council suggested and gave me four phone numbers. One, the council indicated was Mr. Demon's phone. That's the 713-9807-772 area code. And she had, there was one that was listed as a Christopher Thomas phone, another one as a Mr. Withers phone, and another one as Francois, also known as Track's phone. I haven't seen one as being on Mr. Williams. Am I mistaken?
Yes, Your Honor, there was one on Mr. Williams that was on the initial report. That is the 954-248-9081.
954-248.
9081.
And that's Mr. Williams, one of the students, you're saying
Yes.
it's his phone?
Correct, that phone, and defense counsel is well aware of the fact that the phone that Mr. Williams had at the time of his death was recovered. The full file system extraction was done from that phone. That shows it was his phone on that, and as well as the fact that the celebrate extraction that we just went through also has Mr. Williams saved under the name of Twin in the phone of Mr. Demmons, in which there's discussions back and forth that identify the 954-248-9081 phone number as that of Mr. Williams, and that there's discussions, for example, that they have gone on trips recently. They've gone to, I believe it was Detroit, and there's then again photos of Mr. Williams on the phone of Mr. Demmons in Detroit that are sent back and forth on that.
Regarding this witness, is he going to testify regarding Mr. Williams' phone?
He's going to testify to the locations of that particular cell phone, yes.
They're going to be identified by phone number?
At both.
Anything else?
No.
Anything else?
If you're going to let it in for demonstrative purposes, I would say at the very least that the names are stricken from the reports and redacted, sorry. And we refer to only the phone numbers, not to the individuals.
Thank you. So we're going to bring the jury in now. As far as that demonstrative, I'm getting conflicting information. I don't want something going before the jury about this is Mr. Denman's phone or this one's phone. There's circumstantial evidence to that effect, but I'm not putting that in evidence that way. Just show the portion that shows the maps, and you can talk about the maps and the other things, but leave out the portion that has at the bottom, or I forget if it's the bottom or top, that identifies Janelle Denman's phone. Chris Williams, just use it by the phone number.
Use it by the phone number. Okay, that's not a problem. So I think I would need just a couple of moments to
Recess.
adjust that.
Restroom break.
Okay.
We're in recess.
Kiki, you love me. Amazing. We're not missing nothing, bro. You can go to sleep. We're not missing shit. Nessie, thank you for the super chat. Says, who do we blame? Defense, prosecutor, or the judge? Bruh, this thing's been like snooze fest today with this trial. Damn. That's how trials all are, Mel. That's how they are. I love these moments in the trials. It's the best part of them. I love it. We blame Melly. What I missed? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That judge afraid. He's scared. All right, so she had to redact all the documents. Kelly, again, thank you so much for the memberships. Appreciate that. I think I'm going to need to order something for tonight for dinner. I ain't doing nothing. The weather looks kind of not that great outside. Maddie wanted to go swimming. Kiki. What did you miss? They have phone numbers, right? Pretty much. Webcam. Let's see. Was a boat leaving from downtown St. John's? Let's see. Well, you need a recess. All right, we'll take a recess. You gotta pee? All right, we'll take a recess. Oh, we'll be back. You'll take a okay, we'll take a recess. Yeah, well. Recess time? Yeah, let's take a recess. Shit, I might start just covering other topics with different titles, and this will just be the side things. It's so like, because there's so many pauses and breaks that like I could actually cover other shit, and just this will be the side thing on the just little shit on the side. Hey, we'll check in once in a while if we got to listen to something. Just throw it to the side. I don't even think this shit should be the main topic. So there was a boat here. Let me see. Somebody sent me this. Maybe they're leaving to go help. This was earlier. Oh, thank you, Brit Focus. I know. Still wanted to show it. Kelly says, hit the couch, Mel. How's Maddie? She's great. She's good. They're going to putting her in some sort of summer thing. Oh, wait. It left the other way? Oh, it goes to the other side. Oh, okay. Well, that sucks. I thought we'd get to see it drift off into the water and shit. It just ducks out. Oh. Oh, okay. All right. A little bit. It just turns around. Okay. What the hell? I swear I fast forwarded. Okay, okay. That's what I didn't see that when I skipped ahead. What the hell? The Matrix. You see what you want to see. I mean, we can call it a day, honestly. I don't know. What else are they gonna? They're gonna talk to this FBI guy about cell phones, the phone numbers. Santa Muerte. I think maybe we should call it. It's already. It's like 4:30. I mean, I don't know what else they're gonna do. I guess they're gonna talk to this guy, the FBI guy. They think. I guess they're saying it's gonna go help out with the search for the submarine. Thank you, Lily. I mean, we're almost there. I don't know. I'm willing to call this shit though, but we could hang out if they end at 5. It's like 30 more minutes. You have a fan. My cat seems to be stalking you. Let's see. Kitty. You ever seen the cat video that I have? I posted on Instagram. Jeanette, I haven't checked that case. Where's the kitty cat? Kitty. Oh, here it is.
That one is another YouTuber. I don't know that I can use it. I need a source video. A source, somebody that's out
Somebody sent me that a while ago. Kiki. I think we should kind of call it, man. It's just kind of whack. We should call it. Boom, 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 boom. I think we should call it, and then we'll see later if there's more updates with this whole submarine thing. Oh, Alexis Treviso scheduled for October. Your cat does that too? Ah, the neighborhood. I should make that on too short. You're right. Mel looking for any excuse to stop today. Yeah, we should stop. Our mental health. We should look after our mental health. Oh God, don't go, Mel. Come on, Mel. Stay for the rest of the day. Your lives keep my mental health. Damn it. Damn it. Moxie, thank you for the membership. Says, what cases are you covering this year, Mel? Also, your audience is really nice. They always give me updates, so thanks to them too. Thanks. I don't know. We're just taking it as it comes. Koberger, maybe. Taylor Show. Is it Taylor Show Business? Show Business. The suitcase lady that killed her boyfriend in the suitcase. I don't know. You started. You have to finish. That's BS. You're stuck here now. You're going to suffer like the rest of us. Let's see if there's any submarine updates. Let's see. The Titanic tourist submarine. How come his guy gets like 70,000 likes and tweets and shit? When I tweet it out, it gets like 50. Culture Crave. The Titanic tourist submarine that went missing was controlled by a Logitech gaming controller. Well, I like his image better, I think, actually. Oh, he did a good image, yeah. The 2-in-1.
Improvised. We can use these off-the-shelf components. I got these from Camper World.
Shit.
We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Damn.
Come on! It's pieces of this sub seemed improvised. We can use these off-the-shelf components. I got these from Camper World. We run the whole thing with this game controller. Come on! It's pieces.
Titanic. The people are trolling too. They went down to see the Titanic and ended up creating the sequel. Wow, there's some really crazy shit on Twitter right now. Oh yeah, we went over the tours earlier. Went over the names earlier. And I think some of their pictures as well. Thanks. I'm sure we'll probably follow up with another stream. Oh, that's a good image. Yeah, those are good images for a thumbnail. Thanks. I don't wanna read me. Okay, it's completely unrelated though. Russell Simmons allegedly accused by 20 women of rape. Fled to Bali. Summary. See if we got any other updates online. Former Coast Guard captain says lost Titanic submarine will need the Pentagon. Oh, the Pentagon did a briefing. Damn, this is serious. Oh, the Pentagon did a briefing.
Good afternoon.
Oh, shit.
All right, so I have a few items to pass along at the top today, and then I'd be happy to take your questions. So the Secretary returned from his trip to Wiesbaden and Brussels on Friday, where he met with leaders and troops supporting training efforts for the Ukrainian soldiers, and then with NATO defense ministers. The meetings were very productive, and the Secretary looks forward to continuing his dialogue and open communications with his NATO counterparts. Turning to this week, tomorrow, Secretary Austin looks forward to hosting His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed, the President of Somalia, here at the Pentagon. You may recall that in May 2022, at the request and coordination of the government of Somalia and at the direction of President Biden, U.S. Africa Command returned a small, persistent U.S. military presence to Somalia to train and advise partner forces to degrade al-Shabaab. This reestablished U.S. presence and support from our partners and allies and multilateral efforts stands as a strong signal as of our continued commitment to Somalia and the region more broadly. Following up from some announcements earlier this year.
Let's bring it back in. It is yo-yo, but I didn't say tell not to read. I'm worried about that. Sure.
So we're gonna take another break? After the break?
Bring it back in.
We're just about to? Y'all need to just call it for the day. Figure all this shit out, let the jury go
Jury entry.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Please be seated. Let the record once again reflect the presence of our jury, as well as the defendant, amendments as counsel to assist the attorney, which remains unstated. Joe, I apologize, but I need to resolve certain issues before we go further. It's approaching 5 o'clock now, so my thought is I'm going to resolve it, and we'll see you all back tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
Hello.
under the admonition, do not discuss the case. Don't form any opinion about the case. Don't allow anyone to discuss the case in your presence. Certainly no research about the case. All right? You hear that every time we break. I tell you that. It's very important. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. We'll see you back tomorrow at 9. Thank you. Thank you. Let the record reflect that you're stepped down. Anything further to discuss, counsel?
No, sir. I don't believe so, sir.
No, Your Honor, I will, if I can make the witness aware, especially Judge Collins, because you are on the stand in the middle of your testimony, I can't have any communication with you outside the
Told you.
presence of defense counsel.
This is what?
If there's any emergencies or anything else, please contact my office so they can get a message to me so that Judge Collins is a record of that.
Understood.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
Thank you, Danny. Danny.
Amazing. Amazing. Amazing grace. He says amazing. They literally did like nothing today, the entire day. Come on, nada. Bruh. I don't know. I mean, I guess between the juror, they saved the juror, and then all these technicalities and going back and forth and all this. I mean, things happen, but it doesn't look like a smooth ship is running.
John Tedious Withers.
Now let's draw recaps. They're recapping the boring shit too. But I mean, the people stay there anyway and watch it. But bro, I'm just so. I'm done. You about to start Florida Chase? I'm gonna head out because I'm kind of tired because I was up late and then up early and blah blah blah. But yeah, I'm gonna head out. If there's some sort of like breaking thing tonight, whether it's a chase or the submarine thing, I'll come back. And I guess I'm almost reluctant to set up the stream for tomorrow morning, but I'll do it. Your trial sucks, right? It kind of does, no? Yeah, this is like a pre-trial. This is like pre-trial. Yeah, I don't know. It's just very, I don't know. But yeah, I think we'll probably have to make a decision this week because honestly, the way I'm looking at this, like, this is shit that we don't even have to spend the entire. We would have. If we did a recap at night, I wouldn't even have even covered today. There would be nothing to cover. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll make a decision, and I'll if I do, I'll schedule a stream for tomorrow because I'm honestly thinking, and I bet the day we don't do it, shit gets crazy. But I'm almost thinking we could just recap in the evening. They want to waste 6 hours, 7 hours, let them do it, then they will come in and cover 30 minutes of it or whatever. Like I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna sit down and think about it because I could just do the probable cause affidavit and just touch on it whenever. All right, guys. I love you though. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. And if you missed any of the submarine streams today, definitely go and check it out. All right, guys. Have a good night. Love you. Bye. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Boop, boop. I'm not mad at you.